So you should be at the point in the playbook where we're talking about the inner game. And the inner game is really the emotional turmoil and the downward spiral that happens when we're dealing with the emotional and spiritual impact on us of the physical challenge or the adversity that we're facing. And this is probably one of the hardest parts of the entire process is how is it that we deal with suffering? And how is it that we climb from this level one defeated and suffering um, state into something better, something more hopeful, something more confident, even empowered? And there is actually a process by which high performance patients do this and their caregivers. Everybody in the entire experience needs to go through this and needs to learn a way to change the experience when you can't necessarily change the outcome, or at least the outcome is out of your control. And that really is the definition of high performance. So let's jump into the process itself we call the perspective trigger. You may recall at some point that I talked about the difference between endurance and resilience. And let me revisit that concept for a second. So, endurance is the ability to take pounding, it is the ability to just sit there and suffer without end to it. It's how much pounding can I take for how long? That's what that strategy is. Well, we need to have that as a strategy, but at some point in a healthcare situation, that strategy doesn't work anymore. You hit a wall and you're so far beyond your ability to endure more suffering that you need a different strategy. So, what you're looking at is the perspective trigger, and this is the redefinition or the reframing of adversity into a challenge that you can use. And this literally is the process that we documented through hundreds and hundreds of hours of interviews with patients and caregivers. And this is exactly how they do it. In a nutshell, what you're going to do is you're going to stop attacking the adversity long enough to, to notice what it's pushing you to do. So this is like turning into this a spin on a skidding car or anything that's a little counterintuitive, but you're going to turn into this adversity and you're going to define it. And then you're going to ask yourself, what is it pushing me to notice? What do I notice about this adversity pushing me toward? What is it pushing me to value more? What is it pushing me to let go of? How about something that I can learn that the adversity is showing me? How about trust? What is it pushing me, or whom am I being pushed to trust? How about risk? Or what does the adversity free me up to do? There's a lot of abundance of new things when we're sick. It may not be something we welcomed, but there's an abundance of time sometimes. And what are we going to do with it? It's freed you up to do something different. What is that? So now we're at the top of page 2. And obviously it says what could be good about what the adversity is pushing me toward. So any of those things to let go of, to trust, to risk, to notice, to learn, to value more. We haven't done them yet, but if I were to do those things, any one of those things, what could be good about them if I took action to make them reality? That will take you in a very positive direction. So dig deep on that question. So, this next section here is really the most powerful section of the entire process. And this is where we introduce virtue and virtue into the adversity. And the reason virtue comes up time and time again is because we need emotion to positive and empowering emotion, very, very powerful, deeply powerful and impactful on us. We need something positive to counteract the negative. And virtues do that. And they do that in different categories. They actually do that in a way that expands your freedom, expands your growth, or expands your purpose. So, what we've done is we've taken virtues and we put them into functional categories here. So, the virtues of humor, connection, courage, confidence, authenticity, when you really think about it, they all help you relax in a situation. Or let's say we're looking for growth out of the situation. We're going to reframe the adversity into a growth experience. Well, what is it that I'm going to learn? What virtues can I learn from all of this adversity? And in my case, patience and humility, perseverance, kindness, discipline, these are not fixed. There's more that I'm going to show you, but I just wanted to give you a sampling of areas that you can grow in to reframe the adversity. And then fulfillment is all about purpose. So trust is one of the big ones in most people's experience. Forgiveness is huge. Love, obviously. Faith, hope. I just did an interview about the power of hope. And so, what I want you to do is think in terms of which virtues could be applied to the adversity in a way that enable you to relax, to reframe the experience as a growth opportunity, or to fulfill some larger purpose. And I didn't want to leave you without a whole list of virtues. So you have a virtue inventory here, kind of a master list of virtues that you can choose from. And as you go down this list, you start to think about things that really resonate with you about this adversity that give you a little bit of an advantage, something that you can build on. And that's how we introduce the power of virtue into the process of healing. This is very, very powerful stuff. So, the last three questions on the perspective trigger really are about the new perspective that you've gained here and how can you expand on those things today. So, we've taken these things that are good, we've taken these virtues that we've identified, and we've developed a new perspective, and then we've asked ourselves, how can we put them into action right now? And again, that's a powerful process. And this is not something that we do one time, by the way. This is done multiple times over and over and over again. You create the discipline of reapplying virtues, of reapplying learning when the going gets really, really tough. So at some point, this is going to actually make you feel differently. And so I want you to go through and look at the inventory of positive feelings down here that we have that should come up because we're now applying, again, virtues that are powerful and they trigger very positive emotions. Sometimes I feel very relieved. Sometimes I feel very secure. I may not feel joyful or lighthearted in the midst of the worst circumstance around, but I can feel maybe more relaxed, maybe more tranquil, maybe more confident, more trusting. So go through this list, feel all of these emotions. And the reason you want to do this is because it triggers your immune system function and puts you in a rest, digest, relax, healing mode. And it not only helps you emotionally and spiritually, but it helps you physically. So that's the essence of the perspective trigger, and this is the beginning of the healing process. You're really, really making a big step by doing this.